Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. And today's show for Ask Brien Radio Show. And my co-hosts are missing in action. Alex Grossman on assignment. Lindsay Mann, I'm not sure where. Anyway, we're back. We're live. We're the Ask Brien Radio Show. If people have never, ever listened to Ask Brien, I really don't know what to tell you. But Ask Brien Radio and Ask Brien website, AskBrien.com, is a website and a show that tries each week to teach people something about business. Why? Because everybody out there has business questions. Everybody out there has a business problem. Doesn't matter how successful you are, everybody has issues. If you can come to a site, ask an expert, ask somebody about something, watch a video, watch a webinar, read an ebook, download a blog. There are many, many ways people learn, different methods, different concepts for every person. Ask Brien and AskBrien.com website allows people to learn something about business. And each week we try to dedicate our shows. On the Ask Brien website, you can become an expert. In order to become an expert, we usually require a minimum of 10,000 hours. We don't want somebody that, oh, hey, I took a class in astronomy and now all of a sudden I'm an astronomy expert. No, you would have to actually have experience. 10,000 hours is a minimum qualification. It is not the only qualification. Do we allow people with less than 10,000 hours? Yes, but it depends on their background, depends on what qualifications they have, what's in their portfolio, before we're going to allow somebody to just become an expert. We have qualifications. Everyone is vetted. This is not, even though it's an internet, we vet each person individually and personally. We take it off the web from that concept, and actually we want to know who that person is, and we actually have live eyeballs, not artificial intelligence, not a bot, not, oh, you have an algorithm, so you met our definition for an expert. No, to become an expert takes a lot. And today's show, we have an expert, although he's not an expert yet on Ask Brien. We're just waiting. Da-da-da-da-da. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. You don't have a drum roll on your machine? What's going on here? Get a drum roll next time. Mr. Engineer, I want a drum roll. You don't have one? Oh, how about a bell? The other engineers had it. Okay, he'll be looking for that. We'll be coming back to that next because he's going to have to get a drum roll. But without any further ado, and I'm a New Yorker, so I have ado, we have Mr. Bob Bell. Why are you lowering me? All right. Bob, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. So you've been
Thanks
listening.
for having me.
Not a problem. I'm glad to have you on the show. So for people that don't know your background or who you are, Bob, your expertise is in web design or web development?
A little of both.
Okay.
A lot of both, actually. I might qualify for your Ask Brien website because I feel like I did 10,000 hours just this week.
Well, that's a very long week.
Yes.
So
no, luckily we stay busy here at Full Blown Studio.
And what is the name of your company?
It's Full Blown Web Design. Full Blown Studio is what I passionately call it.
And it's at fullblownwebdesign.com is where people can learn information about your company, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And how long have you been doing website design?
Oh, since AOL first came out, since 1992.
So we're going to hear... That's my 28.8 modem.
Yeah, I mean, definitely first websites I created were on a dial-up modem using an old MacBook, not a MacBook,
Macintosh?
iMac. Oh. Yeah, an old Macintosh.
And in those days...
With the green screen.
This is pre-Google.
Yeah, so way before, yeah.
I know that a little bit because some of the listeners are unaware. I had a website in 1996 called Incorporations, Etc., and I was advertising with banner ads on Yahoo, and still going to the magazine classified sections like Entrepreneur Inc. That's how I did it. We didn't have Google, so I couldn't do Google AdWords. We didn't have Facebook. I couldn't do Facebook. We didn't have
Right.
YouTube. We didn't have all this stuff. This was like the real pioneering days, and to try to figure out a way to get marketing, and everybody didn't even know if the internet was just a fad or that was something that was here to stay. So in that
Right.
time, it was a little bit difficult. To start a business back then and keep it going was difficult. Of course, one of the largest businesses in the world, Amazon.com, started during that era, so they were able to figure it out. And they started out solely as a book company. That was it. Amazon will have any book title you want. That was it. Nowadays, you need anything.
Yeah, and back then you would use the yellow pages to be listed in the directory, and now your website gets listed in a directory, which is Google or Yahoo search engine.
Well, and if you keep I used white paper back then, and if I kept it since the last 20 years, it would have turned yellow by now. So I guess those would have been yellow pages.
Exactly.
Or if you highlight it, if you highlight it with the yellow highlighter, I guess that could be yellow page as well. So so you got involved in the industry when, 94, 95, around that time? I don't want to date anyone, but
yeah.
And
let's go with that.
And what were you doing before that? Anything?
Oh yeah, I was a sound engineer. Went to school for 2 years in Hollywood to be a sound engineer for.
Just like my sound engineer, who's giving me these weird looks. Like, what are you talking about? A drum roll? I don't know.
Hey, there we go.
All right, we got the drum roll. I knew he had it. Sometimes I have to teach the newbies. So anyway, getting back to where we were. So you're a sound engineer. You went to college and decided to become a sound engineer, or didn't go to college and became a sound engineer, or did you have any other career prior to that?
Yeah, I have a BA in business administration. And so I wanted to start a company of my own. It was either, my passion is in music and sound engineering, and then I realized, what else can I do with a computer? And this was before you could mix music on a computer. But I really loved recording music and making it sound good, polishing it, and mixing it and making it available to the client. But the other things that you could do with a computer were web design, video editing. So I got into all of that, and that's why I call my company Full Blown Studio, because we can do voiceovers, we can do video editing. I got involved in all of those aspects, which are now used in web design too. So did you start a company, or did you go work for somebody as a sound engineer? I worked for several studios in Hollywood and Santa Monica for several years. And unfortunately, the first engineer never got sick. And that's how you get moved up to, hey, the first engineer's sick. Will you sit in and record this band? And
well,
if they
what
really
I'm
like you.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to start coughing really badly on the sound engineer in front of me, and then you can take over his job, and next week you can be the sound engineer and ask Brien.
There you go. I love it.
And he's like giving me these weird looks like, whoa, stay away. Whoa, 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 whoa. This wasn't in my contract. I don't even want to use words like workers' comp. Anyway, are you sick? You feeling bad? I think I got a fill-in for you. Anyway, so that's an interesting concept, that you're doing sound engineering, you have a business background, and then you get into web design. Did you have computer science classes? Did you have computer background? What made you think that you could just go into the web design and say, okay, I'm a web designer? Or is it because nobody else existed at that time?
It's mostly the people who called me for work. 20% of them would say, I need some sound engineering done. And 80% of them would say, hey, can you create a website for me? Because it was a new fad and everybody was trying to get on the internet, get their company on the internet. So I kind of went where the money was, really. And just started learning everything I could about web design and web programming. And then
did you take classes?
The next talk. Yeah, I took a couple classes. Initially, we were using Netscape Navigator. If you
Netscape,
remember
wow.
that web browser?
Unfortunately, I do. That's almost like as old as AOL. In fact, I think AOL
Yeah,
eventually bought Netscape, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. They had a web design portion of the browser that would help you create websites visually. And then I started working for a company, and they said, throw that thing away. You need to learn the real way to create websites. So I had to learn the programming language called HTML. And as I became more familiar with that, new programming languages came out that allowed websites to talk to databases and store data and then recall the data. So it was really one step after another.
So, well, first of all, I want to go over a little bit about where you are, and then what we're going to do later on in the show, I think for the second half, is we're going to take a hypothetical. So we're going to take the widget business. Widget business is very, very popular. And we're going to take the widget business, and we're going to try to create a website and what steps are involved and how complicated it is. And then off of that, we're going to ask some questions. So we'll do that when we come back from the break, which won't be for another 13 minutes. So if people want to hold off on that, come back in 13 minutes, that's fine. Although you know and I know that you're going to be missing a lot of valuable business information. So why you'd want to leave, I have no idea. But if you have to go and, put your food in the oven or pick up your kid, this is the time to do it. But we're back live. And Bob, so first of all, HTML, that's a standard language. What does that mean, just learn it? I mean, did you go to a class or you just sat there and said, did somebody teach it to you? How did you learn that so quick?
Yeah, I was working at a company that had several programmers that already knew it, and there's some online tutorials you can use as well that are very good. And if I had any questions, I would ask one of the other programmers, hey, why isn't this working? Oh, you missed this, or you forgot to close that, or, so that way I was quickly able to get up to speed with that company and with my HTML.
And what kind of websites were we doing with the HTML at that time?
Mostly business, mom and pop companies that want to get their business online, lamp stores and widget sales and.
Well, widgets are probably the most popular item out there.
Yeah.
And so what would you do? You'd basically take one of those sites and would it be e-commerce where you're selling the lamps on the site, or are you just taking pictures to show people the type of products that you had?
Well, at that company, there wasn't a lot of e-commerce yet. It was sort of towards the beginning. So it was, how do I contact you? I found you online. Here's your phone number. Here's your email address. Okay, I'm going to call you or write you a note.
Well, how would people find you online without Google?
That's a good question. I mean, there was Yahoo and Earthlink and a couple other companies vying for, the top search engine position.
You mean like Excite and Lycos? I don't know if you know those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So that was back in the day. So, but how did people even find out about the internet at that time? I mean, you're talking about the early days, like when my old folks were riding the horses to work. I mean, how did they? How did you even know about the internet?
That's a good question. I mean, it was in the news.
I'm asking a lot of good questions because keep saying I'm asking.
Yeah, it was a popular trend, and like you said, we didn't know if it was going to be just a trend or if it was going to last. And now it basically controls everything we do, pretty much.
Well, and that was also in the early era of cellular phones as well, if I'm not mistaken. So you started dealing with these websites, whatever, in HTML. You learned that. Then where did you go after, or what did you learn other languages besides HTML?
Yeah. So after a brief stint at one company, I got hired at Miramar Publishing in Malibu, California, and they had 7 magazines that they published every new issue every month. And they were getting into the internet as well, and so they wanted to put their magazines online so that they would increase their, visitors and their views of the magazine. So at that company, they were using a programming language called Cold Fusion, and that was created by a company called Alaire.
It sounds like nuclear energy or something, cold fusion.
Yeah.
Or is that fission?
Yeah, if you do a search for cold fusion now, you get half the results are, fission technology, nuclear technology, and half the results are Adobe's programming language.
So, that Adobe purchased them later on. So what exactly is, people know HTML because that's standard basic web development stuff, but what is Cold Fusion in terms of computer language?
HTML displays the content on the screen. So if you want, this font at this size, then you use HTML. And if you want the website to calculate anything or to save, like if you log into a website, for example, you're submitting your username and password to another page, and then Cold Fusion would examine that and say, is it the correct username and password by looking up in the database to see if you exist, if you have an account with us.
Well, how is it any different than any other language? I mean, I think you can use login and checking names and passwords in HTML, PHP, or almost any other language that's out there, no?
They are similar. They all do the same thing. It's just, do you know Spanish or do you know Portuguese?
No hablo
It's just
español.
a different language.
No hablo español. So, first of all, good question. So why are there so many computer languages out there?
That's another good question.
Why can't we just find a universal language and everybody learn it?
Yeah, one of the differences is I think Cold Fusion is kind of a higher tier. It's centered towards developers and programmers' ease of use and speed, whereas PHP and Microsoft's ASP language do the same thing, but there's a little more coding involved. So it takes a little bit longer to get from point A to point B using those languages. And PHP is open source, so it's totally free.
I like the price.
Yeah, can't beat that.
But so what's the differences, though, between PHP and Cold Fusion? And for listeners that don't know, why don't you just quickly go over a quick thing about Cold Fusion and PHP? So Cold Fusion is now owned by Adobe. That's its, a software program or something? Or how does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's installed on the web server, and it parses the web page data and spits it back out as pure HTML so that the browser can display it.
So it converts it.
So yeah. And PHP does the same thing. ASP does the same thing. It's just different syntax, basically, like the way you type it to make things happen, the way you type on the screen for a developer. For the public, you could never tell the difference, basically.
So, again, you're telling me one is easier to use, Cold Fusion. Why isn't everybody using Cold Fusion? Why are people still using PHP and Microsoft? I mean, Microsoft, is that an open source?
No, that costs money as well.
Why would people use Microsoft as opposed to Cold Fusion?
It's just, whatever you, as a developer, decided to teach yourself,
Well, are there things you can do with Cold Fusion that you can't do with PHP and vice versa?
No, not really. They all have the same base functionality and the same extended functionality.
Well, like I hear WordPress has a lot of plugins, so it's easier, for a novice to just get in there and all of a sudden create a big website. Is there, there's no plugins with Cold Fusion or Microsoft or PHP, correct?
Well, WordPress was written in PHP by some PHP developers, And I could have written the same thing in Cold Fusion and called it, cold press. And I think there is a WordPress style.
Well, my next question is, why haven't you done it
cold
yet?
Press.
But
there's only so much time in the day. But I'm working on some other projects that use Cold Fusion, and maybe I can show them to you another.
What are you doing all day? Anyway, my engineer is saying we're going to be taking a break in about 15 seconds, so we're going to come back because it's getting a little complicated, a little too technical for some of our listeners. We want to come back and we're going to go over a hypothetical widget.com, if it's not taken, and we can create our own website. And he's going to create it in Cold Fusion and go through the timeline, the processes, and what we can and cannot add versus other companies. We'll be right back.
Okay, sure.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Facey knows life gets busy. Let us go to work for you in the Santa Clarita Valley. We have 34 primary care physicians and 55 specialty doctors in 4 offices. And Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS with some extended hour appointments available. We are Facey Medical Group. Let us go to work for you today. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com.
The City of Santa Clarita's free Concerts in the Park series, presented by Logix Federal Credit Union, is back and better than ever. Taking place every Saturday night throughout July and August, the 2019 series features 8 amazing musical acts, including Wannabe, a tribute to the Spice Girls, and Beach Boys tribute band Surf City All-Stars. Food and refreshments are available on site. All concerts start at 7 p.m. at Central Park. For this year's full lineup, please visit santa-clarita.com/concerts.
Definition of ease: effortless and simple. Practical application of ease: ease. That's EAZE. See, Ease offers a huge selection of quality CBD products delivered right to your door. So take the guesswork out of CBD with ease. For a wide selection of curated CBD products and great values, go to easewellness.com. That's easewellness.com. EAZE wellness.com.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on 1220 and 98.1 FM. You're listening to us from Newhall, California. If anybody doesn't know where that is, I don't know what to tell you. Go to Google Maps, figure it out. But that's where we're calling from. It's a suburb or part of Los Angeles. And we're listening with our great guest today, Mr. Bob Bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. That's not a bell. All right. I'll get the engineer by the time we do the last commercial break. He'll have the bell down. Okay. Yeah, I got to work on him. Anyway, he's a new kid. Good guy, though. Good guy. All right, so we're back. And we're listening to the Ask Brien, ASKBRIEN, because Brien is always spelled IEN. It's not spelled YAN. It's not spelled IAN. There's only one way to spell Brien. BRI. Give me an E. E-N. All right, we're back live. Mr. Bob Bell. We were talking before we got on the break, a lot of technical stuff, some of the callers were saying, hey, it's a little technical for me, but I really like everything that's going on. So we're going to go a little bit more practical because we try to teach people something about business each week. So, Bob, now I know you have a background, you said, in a program called Cold Fusion. Not too many listeners are aware of that. That is a private type Cold Fusion thing. We're going to take widget.com if it's available. I don't know if the domain is available. I'm not going to test it for right now. But for purposes of our discussion, we're going to create a site for widget.com. And widget.com, they have widget class A, widget class B, widget class C. It's a product, and we're selling it to the public. Okay? And so my first question is, why would I develop my site through you on Cold Fusion versus doing WordPress or Weebly or doing it on my own with Wix or Square or wherever?
Well, first of all, a custom site built from scratch, you have unlimited possibilities, whereas WordPress, Wix, Weebly is very good. They have a lot of templates to choose from, a lot of skins or themes to choose from, color themes and stuff like that, but not a lot of customization is available. You get what they offer, basically. You can change the color of the headline, but not the body text, stuff like that. Whereas a custom site is unlimited. Every single possible function and all the functionality available on the internet is available to you. And some people need that. Some people don't.
Doesn't customization cost more money?
Yes. Generally, depending on what type of customization you need, it's basically how long is it going to take the developer to make that work for you to your specs.
Well, that's a good question right there with your specs, okay? So let's say we've got the widgets. I've got an idea of how I want it to look in my head, okay? And now I'm calling you up on the telephone. Ding-ling-ling, ding-ling-ling, okay? Is Bob there? I refer to you by KHTS 1220. I want my 20% discount. That's right, folks. You can get a 20% discount if you call Bob. And he's at, what's the name of your site? Full-blown
webdesign.com.
So I'm ringing, and I got this idea for a widget, okay? Somehow I'm going to have to explain to you. I don't know if I do this visually on paper. Somehow I have to explain to you how I want my site to be because, you have a vision, and you may have an idea, and that may be great, but it may not be my vision the way I want my site to look. So how am I going to explain that to you?
So obviously I don't know everything about every company.
What?
And I don't know. I get calls from accountants and lawyers and doctors, and I don't know everything about their field, so I need to interview them to get a little bit of an idea of what they do and how to best represent them on their website to the public.
Well, we sell widgets.
And, yeah. So also what I need from you is pictures, or I can help you take those, product shots, right?
My widgets are red, white, and blue. I'm a true patriot.
Okay. Well, we'll take some pictures of those so they look nice on the site. They're all the same size. They all fit nicely, and the website appears organized. And then I'll need some text descriptions from you. And when you write those text descriptions, I have a little course that I can go over in a few minutes that would tell you how to make them search engine friendly so that Google can latch onto those and properly represent you in the search engine and rank you higher than if you didn't use my technique.
So we're going to get a little bit of a mini SEO class. Okay, that's good. And, but the pictures themselves, could be JPEG. It doesn't matter the format. Can I use my iPhone? What's the deal?
Well, it's a good question because Google is now penalizing people if their website loads slowly. So making your pictures as small as possible while still looking good is another technique that actually improves your search engine ranking. So JPEGs, using the JPEG compression, is a better choice than a PNG or a GIF format. And those are the three formats that are available on the internet. for pictures.
At some time we'll have you back on images and all that stuff, because we could do a whole show just on the difference between PNG, JPEG, GIF, and all that other stuff, and how to resize and all that other stuff. And that's obviously more in the design phase. But let's go back to the more practical side. So I'm trying to get my widget business going. Okay, it's going to be an e-commerce.
Okay.
Site. It's going to be an e-commerce site. The colors I have are red, white, and blue. Okay, it's we're appealing to the American market. I've taken your SEO class. I've got all my content. How do I explain to you what I want where and what features I want where? How do I do that? Because I'm just a person here, and I've got it all in my head how I want it to look. You've got stuff in your head and many years of business experience, but how do you know? How do you make what I want into you? Do you have like a questionnaire? Do you have some, do you use like a software program or something? Is there something out there that I can say, hey, I want it to be like this and do this, doing this and that? Or I just write it on
I do have a questionnaire, but I usually just do a verbal interview for about a half hour and talk about what you want, your favorite colors. Do you have a logo yet? Or do you need me to help create that? And aside from that, I've done many e-commerce sites over the years, and I developed my own e-commerce system, which is a shopping cart, basically. And it does several things. It displays the products. It displays the prices. It has an add to cart button. And over the years, I've just fine-tuned that. So I'll start with that and enter your products into the system, and then they'll show up on your website, and people will be able to buy them.
Well, okay, but how do I show you? Hey, I want the I want the picture on the northwest corner, the northeast corner, and the south, and I want a video of me saying I am number one, and then have and then have content all over there with this is the best widget designer in all of Southern California, and available throughout the United States. How do I tell you where it goes?
What you described right there, basically, I would think, okay, you need a custom designed site, because WordPress or Wix or Weebly might not have these. Those sites are basically fill in the blank. So here's a picture, here's some text, change the picture to yours, change the text to what you want to say. But you can't move it over here. You can't switch the place, the positions. You can't have one floating on top of another without, a PHP programmer for WordPress going in and making some expert modifications to the code. Aside from that, they're great platforms. Google loves WordPress. So it's not a bad starting point. But for you, I think we need a custom site, because you want a video to show up exactly in the right spot on the homepage, so that when visitors arrive, that's the first thing they see. And then you want a picture and some text next to it. And in order to do that, we need to custom place those objects on the screen so they look good on the desktop computers, laptops, tablets, and mobile phones.
But let's go back, take one step back before you get there. So I still haven't figured out how I'm going to tell you what goes where.
Just verbally, like you just told me.
Well, let's
like
say,
you just said.
Let's say I don't know directions. I don't know where northeast and northwest is.
The problem that I run into mostly is people don't know what they want. They're like, I've got, this video and I've got 3 product shots, make me a website. So that's, that puts me to work. And sometimes we do 5 or 6 different examples and see which one you like best.
So that's
I really like number 4.
Well, that's a good question. So do you have a flat fee program when people build when you do a website for somebody, or you just sit there and say, okay, like me, I'm a lawyer and I just clock it by the hour, and it's like, okay, 9 hours. Well, keep going here, because you'll never get past the first picture, and I'll.
No, I try to estimate how many hours I think it's going to cost. I think it's going to take and then give you a flat fee estimate up to X amount of hours. And if we happen to go over that, then it's charged hourly after that.
So most of the things are done on a flat fee, and then you figure out what the I hear a dog, so I don't. There's not a dog
sorry.
over here, so it must be your dog. Is that your big employee? Does your dog tell you whether or not to charge a flat fee or you have to raise the prices? $2.
He's guarding my laptop. Very valuable.
I was thinking maybe $3 means you increase the price. $2 means lower the price, and no box is you're safe. All right, so let's get back to the engineer's giving me these looks like, I'm from Mars, when he's actually from an alien. So, I mean, that's really very interesting. An alien trying to tell me that I'm a Martian. Let's go back to where we were. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. All right, so I think people have now totally lost. But you basically have a program. How do you know what flat fee to charge somebody? How do you know it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be $3,000, this is going to be $9,000, this is going to be $50,000, this is going to be $500? How do you know?
Sometimes the client will call and say, hey, I want to share my screen with you so you can see a program I'm using right now to take care of my company, to schedule caregivers appointments or to schedule attorneys' court dates. And they'll show me what it does, and they say, I want you to replicate that and put my logo on it. Make it similar to that. I need these 5 things, but I don't need these 3 things. So I'll watch their screen and see how the program works, and then, mentally calculate how long it'll take me to create that.
Well, that to me is more along the lines of a simple site, easy site. When I think of customization, like Ask Brien, that's a customization site, right? I'm thinking more along those lines. We have lots of features on that site, right? And you don't even know if there are more features that I want to add. So when somebody comes to you, and I'm not talking about Ask Brien, but a site in same concept in terms of the number of features, the number of little things here and there that they've got going on there, how would you figure out how to quote somebody that came in, for Ask Bob Bell?
Well,
instead of Ask Brien.
I have to know my tool set and which tools I have available to me and how long it generally takes to create a login process, create a sign up, create my account on the website. How long does that form and accompanying code take to create? And then once they log in to their account, what do they see? They have a dashboard, and they have, 10 things they can click on, and those 10 things need to all be hand-coded. Maybe they have 20 things they can do once they log in. They can pay a bill, or they can, do a recurring payment, or, all these features take time to program, and I just add it up on paper or in my head and send a proposal. That this is going to take this long, this is going to take this long.
So do you have a scope of work, an SOW? You know what that is?
I don't use that very often, but I will mostly calculate it in my head or on paper and send a proposal like that.
Okay, so I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm figuring 18 hours, and I got to get X dollars an hour. That's how you're coming out with a flat fee, right?
Yes.
And then
it's always been a problem trying to estimate the cost of a design project before it starts, because some clients are what I call easy. They're like, oh, that looks great, first try, okay, perfect. Some clients, you go back and do it again, 30 times. And so what would have taken 1 hour for one client takes 30 hours for another client. And
so how do you calculate how to build them?
Yeah, that's why I have that clause in the contract that says, over 50 hours will be charged by the hour. This quote is good up to 50 hours, and then I'll keep track of all the hours.
Well, then it's not really a flat fee; it's an hourly, isn't it?
Yeah, I give you always a discount, a break on the hourly fee in the estimate, in the proposal. So let's say I charged $100 an hour and it was going to take 50 hours. That would be, $5,000. Brain just died. And if it goes, so I might quote you 4,000 to start with, and that's good for up to 50 hours. And then if it goes over that, it's $100 an hour, let's say.
Well, why is it going up
if
you already got my money?
Because you're not supposed to go over.
Well, I could come back to you and say, well, why did you go over? Maybe it was your fault. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's not get there.
It discourages going over. Yeah.
Well, let's not get into that. So, again, somebody's going to explain to you the way it works. Hopefully you're going to catch it, because I think that's the biggest problem. I think the problem nowadays is, unless you're physically at the same place with your web developer, the web developer has an idea of how he thinks it should look. You have an idea how it should look, and how do you mesh that together?
Right.
That's not an easy thing to do. And
I'll do it to answer that. I'll do it in phases. So I'll do like the home page first, and I'll get that all finished and polished where I think it looks good. Then I'll present it to the customer. So we didn't use all 50 hours yet. We just used 10 to make the home page. And if they like that, then we'll move on to the inner pages or the shopping cart or the e-commerce section.
And if not, they just take a plastic hammer and hit you over the head. Is that it?
Yeah, they might say, "Hey, I like this, but change the logo." Or yeah.
Now, what's a typical time frame on a website? Because that's the one thing I hear a lot of people telling me. They go, "My web developer said, X dollars, and it's supposed to be here in 2 weeks, and it's 6 months later, and he still doesn't have it down."
That's another problem I see frequently is web designers underestimate how long it's going to take to do stuff. But if I gave you a flat fee, I will try to honor that as good as I can. If you keep coming back to me with, change this, change that, then it might go over. But if it's my fault, I will honor the flat fee and, but go ahead.
But I wasn't referring to, we're going to come back in a minute because we're going to take a break, but I wasn't referring to the flat fee per se. I was talking about the timeline. You said it's going to get done in 2 weeks, and now here it is 6 months, and we haven't even gotten to the login yet. And so I want to go over that and go over the issues that could come up, because people ask me those type of questions all the time. We'll be right back.
Sure.
KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM.
The stress was unbelievable.
Debbie Morris is a changed woman.
A giant boulder's been lifted.
Debbie called Made for You.
I'd finished a day of work.
Professional, residential, and commercial cleaning.
Walk into my house.
Made for You.
It was an absolute pigsty.
Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning.
Our mess kept growing.
255-2922.
Even when we weren't home.
255-2922.
Made for You rescued me.
The Oasis treatment at the Ivy Day Spa begins with a gentle exfoliation, then rinsed away in warm showers. You're painted with a soothing aloe vera, shea butter, and coconut oil body mask. Then travel through the warm Hydro Cape chambers. The relaxation chamber completes your Oasis body moisturizing treatment with a pH balancing mist and a warm cup of tea. Feel refreshed, hydrated, and relaxed. Pamper yourself. The Ivy Day Spa, Town Center Drive.
My favorite restaurant in Santa Clarita? Salt Creek Grill, of course. Great food, neat atmosphere.
For a business lunch or romantic dinner, I'll always go to Salt Creek.
Hi, I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. We have created Salt Creek to provide you with the most comfortable and inviting restaurant in Santa Clarita. Enjoy fresh mesquite grilled fish, aged steaks, and the best chops imaginable. There's entertainment every Friday and Saturday night, and we have the best Sunday brunch in town. Salt Creek is on Town Center Drive in Valencia.
If you have a business problem, If someone doesn't honor their agreement and you need an aggressive attorney with over 27 years' experience, the Law Office of Peter Bronstein has helped partners resolve disputes, franchisees resolve disputes, and other business owners who have a challenge. Let the Law Office of Peter Bronstein take your stress away. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. Don't wait too long and lose your rights. Solve your business challenge problem today. Visit lacorporateattorney.com. We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019? Because they strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience. Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. They know you have high expectations. Their stellar team will meet and exceed those expectations. That's why they were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing them in the top 10% of all dealers. Details at mbzvalencia.com. That's mbzvalencia.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Welcome to the Ask Brien Show. The following is paid programming and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. And we are here with Bob. Where's the bell? I don't know. I'm going to have to have a conversation with my engineer. That's the bell? Oh, my God. Got to work on the bell part. All right. We're here with Bob Bell, and his website is, again, fullblownwebdesign.com. And even though I pronounce it as 4 words, it is 1 word in the domain. And that's where you can get a website designed. And on this show, he's offering all of our listeners for Ask Brien, AskBrien.com. All those listeners can get a 20% discount just for mentioning that you heard it on KHTS 1220 AM and 98.1 FM. Before we went to break, we were talking about some of the issues that web developers deal with as well as business owners deal with, one of which was flat pricing, one of which was how do you inform the web developer what they want on the site. We were going through that. But we want to, and when we left off, I had asked a question regarding the timeline. And so, okay, Bob, I'm doing my website with you. I paid $10,000. I got a 20% discount, so it's $8,000. And you're charging $100 an hour, so you figure it's going to take 100 hours. How long of a time period am I talking about to get my site designed?
Most programmers, I think, including myself, might be working on 5 different projects that are 100 hours long, and we try to chip away and make progress on each one of those every day. So if there's a problem with one, it might put off my ability to work on your website that day, and then I'll have to make it up tomorrow. And if too much of that goes on, there could be a delay. And I think that's what you're seeing is causing the delay sometimes. So just be open and work with us, and, we'll promise to get it done eventually.
Well,
as soon as we can.
That's
yeah.
like a standard answer. So you've got a 100-hour project. I'm presuming you charge approximately $100 an hour. I don't know what you charge. I've never done business with you. But let's say it's $100 an hour at your company. First of all, you're the only one working on it, or do you have other people that will work on it?
I have some other partners that can work on it too.
And so are they less expensive than you or more expensive than you or the same?
They're less expensive, but I charge my rate and pay them accordingly. It's part of my business model.
All right, so now when you get a 100-hour project in, let's say today you got a new 100-hour project in, okay? Well, I do the math, and I go, well, that 40 hours a week, 2.5 weeks, so my project's going to be done 2.5 weeks, right? Well, that's not the answer. It doesn't work that way.
If I was to work on your project all day, every day for those 2.5 weeks, it would be done.
What other site would you want to work on other than my site? I mean, doesn't the world revolve around me? All right, go ahead.
So another thing that happens frequently is once you obtain and retain a client and you build their website, where are they going to go when they need updates in the future? They're going to go back to you. So I have, hundreds of clients that I've worked on their website in the past. Every day, one of them at least will call and say, hey, I got a new phone number, change the phone number on my site, or, I want to add a new section that does this or does that. And of course they come after your project, but I need to get that done as well.
Again, in my world, the world revolves around me and my website, so no one else's website should go first, and every one of your clients thinks the same way, and that's the way it should be. So, unfortunately, our show is coming to an end, and so, again, you get a 20% discount. Is that good forever, or is that just good for the next year, or what? Because this will be
if you mention the show, if you call me and mention the show before the end of, it's good until 2020.
And again, the domain?
fullblownwebdesign.com.
All one word.
And I'm local in Santa Clarita here too, as well.
Where's that? We're in Newhall. That's almost a mile or two away. All right. Well, it looks like the engineer is saying no more. I don't know why. No mas, no mas. He threw the white towel in. I guess the Rocky's over, and Rocky Balboa has won the fight again. And what can I tell you? For the two and a half years that we've been doing the show, Rocky always wins. Listen, KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM on AskBrien.com, BRIN.com.